Good day, guys. Today we're working on a 2011 GMC Acadia. The problem we found with this vehicle was a couple of weeks ago the washer fluid button stopped working, as well as the intermittent function on the wiper switch. It only go on high, and yeah, so we're going to have to replace that. I've got a couple of theories of why that happened, but we'll look at that when we get the other one out. This isn't a detailed tutorial on step-by-step or anything, but it's give you a bit of an idea if you want to take it apart yourself. The switch itself was about $75 from the GM dealer, so it's not a major high-cost part, and definitely a major, better safety concern if you're going to get in a situation where you don't have one working. So yeah, without further ado, I guess we'll go forward on that and we'll do the video. So this is a bit of a close-up on what that part looks like, just from the new piece from the dealer. It's got a couple of plugs on the back. It's fairly straightforward. Some of the older GM vehicles, they had kind of a wire harness thing that went below the column and behind the dash and stuff like that. So it looks like they made some improvement as far as that goes, and it's a lot simpler. But yeah, that's what it looks like anyway. So if you're thinking to do it yourself and you're wondering, well, I don't know how that looks or how does that go in there, that's the piece. All right, and so for the most part, I'm seeing we got a few bolts here we got to undo. I'm guessing just the way that all works, we're gonna have to take out, there's kind of a cover piece in here. We're gonna have to pull that sucker out of there and stick that piece back in there. I'm thinking we got to take the top bezel out, just the way I've been kind of looking at it before. I've never actually taken this thing apart, so it's always a good time to have a new experience on things when you're making a tutorial, but we'll see what it looks like and open her up. Okay, so you can see the nut in there. It's always interesting working on American/Canadian built vehicles, because you just never know the side of the border they're built, and sometimes they basically need 2 sets of wrenches anyway. So, but 2 down here we got to pull off. Okay, so I pulled the we gotta get this column kind of opened up right here. Sorry, it's hard to see in a dark vehicle, but you gotta get this column off. So that's what we're looking to get off here to get at this switch. So as I kind of mentioned before, we gotta take this bezel off here. So that's this piece. There's 2 kind of bolts there and there, and you pull them off. Like I said, the same 7 mil. The interesting thing about this vehicle, it looks like this whole bezel is kind of separate, but it's actually not. It's kind of all tied in with this bottom piece down here, and that's okay. This piece actually comes down. I just popped, if you get a flathead screwdriver and you start at the bottom here and you get your fingers in there, this piece pops back, and then this piece kind of drops down. It's the same deal. It's got some clips back here, like a lot of automotive. If you do any kind of pulling plastic parts, you'll know what I'm talking about that way. And try and get a little flashlight in to see if we can show you what we're looking at here. Yeah, and then it pulls back. And the one tricky thing, I think all Acadias come with a heads-up display, but there's a plug on the back side you got to pull out here. And it's just a pop tab, I think. If you saw that or not, but it's gotta just come right out of there. This clip here, it's just got a just squeeze piece on top there, and it'll just slide right back, and that's no problem. Yeah, I'm gonna pull these guys back. Let's cover off. There's another. Great time to get underneath, and you're thinking you need to clean that instrument panel out or something like that, buff it off or something. This is a really good time to do that, because you're just taking the bolt off on this side. It's a little cold out this morning. It's not it's supposed to be -3, and it hasn't quite gotten there yet, and that's Celsius. Minus 15 outside, and my heater was interfering with my camera noise, so I can't turn that on. So we're a little chilly this morning, but nothing we can't handle. Okay, so that gets us to that point. It's kind of loosened out. Be really careful with plastic stuff. You just never know where you're gonna bust something or not pay attention to it like you should. Okay, just show you down here underneath the column to get that kind of that cover piece out of there or whatever. There's one more bolt underneath, so don't forget that one. Alright, once you got this piece kind of loosened off, that cover piece there, next piece we got to pull this column splits apart, which is nice. It should get us the room we need to get in there. See those clips way at the top? We got to pull those off and get that corner cover to come off. So the quickest way I found to get that cover off is just to squeeze the bottom in kind of with your thumb underneath there, and then just lift up on the top, and it just releases real easy, so that's good. Okay, so you got a Chevy Traverse or a GMC Acadia like this one here. That's kind of what the inside looks like. So that's kind of what that all looks like. We're gonna have to try and get that plug out of there. I like to undo plugs first. Two separate plugs there, so remember gray on top, white on the bottom. There's two tabs here. Excuse the lack of camera view here, but it's kind of a two-handed operation. There's one clip. Voila! That wasn't rocket science. You got this little tab here, and that little tab's for when you turn the steering wheel and you got your blinker on. You make your turn, and the blinker turns off. That's what this tab does. It just clips it back. But sometimes you got to watch to make sure that when you're putting the switch back in, of course I would have had to drop it in the snow. Just got to make sure that it doesn't have to get aligned properly or anything like that. That could be the most part. Going back in is just about as simple as it came out. Simple enough, eh? Boom. Okay, so I haven't started anything up. I'm just going to do a quick kind of verification everything works. So everything should work here. Turn the fan off. Nice possible drive with care. It is slippery outside, it says. One way the blinker works, other way the blinker works, it's good. Hear the headlights going on and off, that all works good. Wipers were good there. If that's that intermittent issue we were having, it wasn't working at all. And washer fluid works like brand new. So those are the things that you can usually see when you're thinking about it, but do the blinkers work? That's her. Okay, so now we know everything's worked. Everybody remembers all the bolts go. We got to put one in there, one underneath there someplace, and one there, back there. First off, though, we're going to try and clip back together this steering column here a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of mock up this piece in the back here. Okay, so these covers are interesting at it. I'm actually going to stop the camera and put them together. The only thing I recommend is a lot of little edges and plastic and stuff like that. Most of it'll clip back together, but it's a really good idea just to take your time with the stuff and use two hands. Slides there, and the other one just clip back on top. But okay, so I put the column back together. Just a tip with plastic, just
say this for everybody, and learning from my mistakes I've made over the years. Like I say, I'm no pro mechanic, but I've taken a few things apart over the years, and one thing about these plastic covers and stuff like that is you really got to take your time with them. It's tougher when the vehicle, this one's really not that old, so as far as brittleness and stuff, it's actually not too bad, but sometimes the older they get, the worse they are. On the flip side, manufacturers are getting better at building stuff these days too, so it comes apart easy, and they know you got to fix some of that stuff eventually. So taking it apart gently and putting it back together gently is important. And something else is don't try and figure out how do I just get this piece out here when you have to take the bezel out and you have to pull the bottom down, and don't try and shortcut things, because that just won't save you any time, and it'll generally break stuff. So anyway, I got ahead of you guys a little bit. I put the bolts back in the bottom here. I put the 3 bolts holding that cover on, and yeah, we're kind of ready to slide this thing up and put the bezel back in. So other than that, yeah, it's looking pretty easy so far. Okay, so a note, if you're taking this particular vehicle apart, this bezel's got a couple of kind of like hooks underneath, and they actually hook into this, so try not to break them when you're pulling that thing apart, but also when you're putting it back together, just remember that they got a clip in there. Remember to hook up your wire for your heads-up display. And other than that, it just basically kind of two-handed and push the bottom one up and slide the bezel in, and you got these little clips up here. Oh man, they're there to see with the camera. Just got a little clip in there, and there's one on here someplace, kind of on the edge, and there's one on the other side, and they got to slide into those slots there. So when you're doing this, it's a good idea to take, depending how close you are, take a few moments and get those slid in there properly, and they're kind of a challenge. You got to line all 4 up at once, but it'll just hold your bezel in there and keep that gap in between your dash. Alright, I got it. A little bit of trial and error and just a little bit of patience. I'll get a clip back in there. It's always interesting listening to the pops and squeezes and cracks that plastic makes when you're popping it back together, but so far it looks like it's pretty close there. This one on the outside should be reasonably easy. There's a little fist pounding on some of those ones. Once you get your clip lined up, you're good to go. But other than that, yeah, there's I'm just going to put the 2 bolts up back here in the bezel, and looks like we're good to go. So that's basically it. Hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of an idea what it looks like to change a multi-function switch on a basically till the new model comes out in 2017 or end of 2016, the GMC Acadia. And it'll be very similar on a Buick Enclave and Chevy Diverse actually too, but it'll just be your plastic pieces are a little different to get in there. But anyway, okay.